It is the Ed Tyll Show, Starcom Radio Network. Our next guest will show you how to keep your grad from moving back home. Boomerang, kids. Diane Huth is our guest, and she is the author of Brand You, To Land Your Dream Job, a step-by-step guide to find a great job, get hired, and jumpstart your career. Diane's website is www.brandyouguide. Diane, welcome to the Ed Tyll Show on Starcom Radio Network. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here, Ed.
Oh, it's great to have you. You think you could pick up the receiver, though? I am getting the entire room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. It sounds like a speakerphone.
Oh, hold on.
Yep, no problem. Take your time.
Is that better?
Much. Now I got you. All right, great. So,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you sound terrific. Can you hear me?
Oh, wonderful.
Here's the thing. I come from the generation, parents loved it if you came home, because we were families. If you moved back in after college, you could take care of your kid brother. You got the garage. You got the backyard. You might even get a job and, unbelievably, give money to your parents. I know, that sounds like Fred Flintstone, huh? But I think it was character. I don't think that character's around today. So I do not blame the parents who see the parasitic 23-year-old, still can't decide, still doesn't know, still not fully engaged. That's the one you want to say, you know, there's a work crew down the street and they all sleep at the shelter. Why don't you try an orange jumpsuit for a couple of months, then come and talk to me and your mom? So how do we sort out the kids, not have them come home? We don't want them back. But I do want to say one word for the parents who love their kids, have good kids, and having the kids come home is actually a benefit for everybody. Hard to believe, though. I do know what the norm is like. All right, what do we do with them?
Well, the key thing is we want to help them not come home unemployed, but go off into the world with wonderful jobs and with future careers. And we as parents can help them in many ways. One of them, of course, we send them to college, as many of us do. But over and above that, we can do things that colleges can't. And one of the things we can do is mentor our children, give them advice, give them coaches. You know, everybody talks about the 6 degree of separation. But when you're 21, you don't really have that many contacts. But when you're 40 or 50, you do. Right. So we can help our children network and use our own personal network of all these years of people that we know and grow up with and people who we influence and have influenced us to help them get internships while they're at school and get entry-level jobs to help them when they get out of school. So we as parents can help our children network. If you went to college, you have an alumni association that may be different from your child's alumni association. They all have directories. You can network with your peers that you went to school with or at the same school to help your child get a job. And then you can introduce them to other people who would mentor them as well as you mentoring them. So you can use your personal network just like you do in building your own personal brand to get your own job. We can apply that for our children and help them on their way.
The thing that I thought was always critical for me at that age, and I used to feel bad for my contemporaries who didn't have this, was initiative. When I was 21 and 22, you were tasked with initiating. And the lack of initiative today, now, you know, I'm up there, right? I'm 60, 61. When I get a producer who's 23, 24, I mean, you do sometimes need the cattle prod to get the energy going. And there is a sedentary look that generation has. I don't know if it's the Ratskeller that does it. I don't know if it's the break room that does it. But they're so comfortable reclining, motionless, that concerned me, because way back when we knew our job is to enter, not to be invited, not to be told even. Push in there, learn. So how does that work today? Where do we get the kind of good motivation that will make them want it rather than be directed toward it?
Well, I don't think we can teach it to them when they're 21. We should have taught them that when they were 6. And I think it's lifestyle. I think millennials do have a different attitude towards work than we do. We older generation, and I'm up there with you, Ed, we identify with our careers and we're very passionate about our careers. The younger generation, they're very more interested in their work-life, home-life balance, quality of life, and balance that they want. And they think of their careers more as, this is, my son explained it to me, I am a husband, I am an athlete, I am a fitness freak, I am a chef, and I make my living by doing this thing. Whereas you and I say, I am a marketer, or I am a radio host, or I am a businessman. It's a different way that we look at ourselves. I teach marketing at 2 different universities, and I have wonderful, motivated, hardworking kids that are not the couch potato that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a balance there. There's a lot of bright young kids. They do have different expectations. I think they're much more expecting the world to open up and welcome them and hand them a job on a silver platter because they have a college degree. But if I remember back a few years, few decades, I kind of thought that too. So maybe it's our perspective also a little bit. But
we can't avoid the narcissism epidemic of the last 30 years. Hair dye, hair plugs, fake lips, fake eyeliner. We have gone as far into the pool of self-worship as you can get. I don't know what's left unless you're just going to go buy a frozen body and start over. So that, to me, poisons their ability to see others, except as they're useful to them. That's a big difference in the paradigm from, again, generation to generation. It's a little bit tough, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be tough. I think if you don't feel you have to go build the world, if you think it was okay for somebody to build it so you could use it, I don't know, there's a character issue there too. There's a selfishness issue there too. There's a self, elevation, whatever you want to call it, that we do these days. The most important thing is me, and how do I feel? And if I don't feel right, I can't even get out of bed. And, we used to get kicked out of bed not feeling so good. And we were told that's good that you don't feel good. The world is not here to make you feel good. Feeling bad and accomplishing and keeping your big yapper shut that you're upset all day, that was considered to be character. That was how we won World War II. And, if people complained, where would we be in the first half of the 20th century? The complaining really set in 70s, 80s, 90s forward. So, how do we undo some of what it seems to have been not such good influence? Can we reverse any of that?
I think it's our role as parents to model that behavior and to teach that behavior. One of the ways that parents can do that before the child gets out of college, for example, is jobs. Every child should have a job in the summer. And I believe that every student should have a job, an internship in the field they plan on studying or working in, to learn about that job and to get credentials, not after their junior year, but after their freshman year. We should be incenting our kids to get out in the workforce and gain real life experience. And a lot of times those internships aren't paid, and we as parents we'd love our kid to get a good job at $15 an hour and pay for their own books and clothes. We're paying so much in tuition. To me, foregoing $3,000 of a salary in a summer to have my child intern at a TV station or a radio station or a consulting company, that is another investment in their education. So part of it might be really focus on giving your child the educational experiences are more important than the material goods that we give them.
Right.
So really focus on the educational achievements and help them learn to network. We don't teach kids a lot of things they need to know in school because I'm there. I see them. Less than 20% of the students that I teach, and I teach in the business school, in the marketing department, I teach seniors.
Right.
So they should really be the sharpest. Less than 20% have adequate writing skills. They cannot write and spell and punctuate sentences. Less than 20%.
Wow. Now, I come from a school that says
teaching grammar.
Well, but where I come from, they go flunk them all. Don't give one of them a diploma. Do not let any of them out of that classroom until they do know how. Because we, again, I sound like Methuselah, but we used to keep kids back. If you didn't do second grade well enough, you sat for second grade again. And you know something? The world is like that. If you want to take the sergeant's exam and you study really hard but you fail, you have to go take it again. So I don't know where we went wrong here, but we got to rally them together. What is their biggest advantage? Let's look at the other side of them. What do they have that graduates 20, 30 years ago did not have?
And that is the digital savvy. Ed, you and I are digital dinosaurs. We may be pretty good at some of the things we do, but we are not anywhere near where kids are. The kids today grew up in a completely digital society, and they are so savvy and so easy to adapt and to learn and to self-teach themselves. My son keeps saying, go learn how to do it. Well, teach me how. No, get a tutorial. Well, I don't do tutorials, but he does. The children are taught to teach themselves through online access and multiple programs that you and I don't. So I coach my older job seekers that you have to tech up. The whole technology divide is huge. And if we older people want to keep our jobs, we have got to learn how to bridge that technology divide. And it's not only learning, your office suite. It is the fact that the world is digital. Your calendar is digital. Everybody is doing shared document files. And your companies are becoming restructured for a younger environment. So the corporate structure that you and I grew up with has changed. And organizations today want to be more agile. That's a big word in today's market. They want to be more transparent. They want to be flattened. And they're oriented around teamwork. So instead of having hierarchical organizations that you and I grew up in, you work with a team. And one of the things people are doing is called scrum work, like a scrum is your rugby team that moves the ball together down the field. Mm-hmm. Well, you work in scrum, so you have a team of 10 people and you have a big task and everybody just picks up the ball and does whatever they can to move that collective goal forward. So when you come back for your accountability session in 2 weeks, you as a team achieve the goal, even if the person responsible didn't do it, somebody on the team picks it up. And that's a completely different philosophy than you and I have. Today in offices, you and I grew up wanting corner offices. Well, today they don't have corner offices. Offices with doors on them are for meeting rooms. They're called huddle rooms or phone call rooms. So if you work in an open workflow area and you get a phone call, you walk into a room, shut the door so you can talk in private and not bother people. Whereas we used to have those private offices that people could come in private and talk to us. It's a completely different mentality. Business is changing, and it's being led by these young millennials, and we had better catch up to it and learn all that digital technology, and not just technology, but philosophy. There really are paperless offices. My son, who's 27, he works in a technology company, and he says they have 2 floors of an entire building, and there's 1 printer on each floor because they don't print paper. It's all done digitally. And
now,
so that's
right.
Now, what we have,
I love this. Yeah. No, I love the picture you paint because I think you're right on. But isn't this why that nut job in North Korea could take us out? Because if you take out our computers, we're deaf, dumb, and blind. Aren't we really using convenience? Yes. And that's the first thing, right? We're putting all our eggs in one basket. So if you knock out our internet, we're powerless. But the other one that kills me, that the gravitational pull of technology has been convenience, easy convenience. That doesn't sound good for human development. That sounds like the opposite of human development. It makes it sound like Jabba the Hutt is what they're all going to look like, because they won't be able to. Why should they move? Why should they get up? In other words, the technology hasn't challenged us. It's punched. This is that old expression from the election, right? It's been punching down to us. We're below Watson. I see Watson on TV, right? That IBM computer. He went on Jeopardy for a week.
Right.
Okay, so Watson's way ahead of us. And we're not going, I don't think we're improving, but we love that, well, Watson's got it. The computer's got it. I don't have to remember the Constitution. Why should I remember what I read? It's right here. Hold on, I'll call it up. Then you say, well, did you read it and understand it? No, here it is. They show it here. And I said, no, did you understand it? Did you digest it? Did you see it as a big idea? It's right here. I don't know what you're making such a big deal about. It's on Wikipedia. See, that to me sounds like what happens when we need to know how.
I don't think that we can change this direction. The search and the desire for convenience and making life easier, you and I can't change that. That is happening. What we have to do is find out where we fit in a world that's rapidly evolving technologically. Right. And a lot of jobs are going away. It's not just in Mexico and China. There are jobs that are being replaced all over the world by different kinds of technology.
Right.
And so we have got to train ourselves into jobs for the future.
Right.
That use creativity, that use initiative.
Oh, you're right close to my heart now. Now, you're so close to my heart. I got to ask you this. I ask this almost of every brilliant guest, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Creativity, yes. Awesome. The ability to do things with the computer, awesome. No doubt. Terrific. Why did we reinvent the phone for 20 years? Reinvent the message board? No cure for Lou Gehrig's disease. We haven't diminished heart attacks yet. Why did this young crowd choose to ignore what was killing people to give people fun with Candy Crush? I mean, it breaks my heart. We're America. We don't do silly. We do world-changing and uplifting. I'm concerned about that. I wish maybe you do too. There was a Manhattan Project on how to take all the factory work in the world away from China, Mexico, have our factories be the showcase of the world. They'd have to come and study us. Our cost would be 90% less than China's. That would be an American hero, because you'd put people to work. You know, what we're doing now is flashy, totally flashy. But where's the cure for the disease? Where's the elimination of air pollution? Where's the desalinization so everybody's drinking ocean water? I don't even hear them hint at this stuff, but boy, they got that Galaxy Note 8. They got that fast, longer battery. Oh, I've got 3D Candy Crush on my new phone. Bother you at all? Does this at all trouble you?
Evidently not the same way it does you. I see a lot of progress in technology. I think the biggest problem of what you started about Lou Gehrig is that there's not a lot of incentive, for example, curing cancer. The medical institutions don't want to cure cancer. If we cured cancer overnight, doctors, hospitals, chemotherapy clinics, radiation centers would all go out of business. It would be a huge economic upheaval, but that's a different political stance. I think.
Well, look, take the politics out.
Economic incentives.
Let's just look
for
at
technology.
just look at what you just said, right? What parent would not be proud to say, my kid finally got Lou Gehrig's disease? Lou Gehrig died decades ago. Now, that to me is that's real accomplishment. I don't think Facebook Blue and typing and grandma's birthday cake even comes close. Do you? Are they comparable? Fun with grandma and incurable disease.
Well, I think that there is a lot of focus on altruistic purposes. I do think that the new generation is more focused on doing what they believe is doing good. They're concerned about the environment. They're concerned about social issues more than many other generations have. And I think we've always wanted to entertain ourselves. But I do think that there should be a huge focus on stretch goals. Like in our generation, John Kennedy says we're going to the moon in a few years, and we did it because we had huge goals and we didn't have the same kind of horrible political divisiveness that we had here. A lot of people didn't like Kennedy, but we liked being Americans. And I think a lot of people don't like being Americans.
You're so right. The people who said they would shoot him shot him. The people who stood up at that day in Dallas said, we'll kill you for treason. They killed him that day. No doubt. But I guess you gave the best example. I remember as an 8th grader, I think it was the summer between 8th and 9th grade, when we got to the moon. And, we're up in the middle of the night and the first step is going on. That really felt like we accomplished something. I don't think Facebook and iPhone 8s possess any of that. I don't even know if they're worth anything in the long run. I saw an article the other day that will be done with all of this stuff at some point because of the deteriorative effect it's having. But man, what a difference, huh? First man on the moon and first a squeezable cell phone. I'm worried about it. I mean,
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is technology challenges. I think there are generational challenges that are making that younger people have different perspectives. My child and I can barely talk to him because they have different points of view.
Really?
And part of it is we've got 40 years of experience that when we were 20, we thought we should, run the world. When I remember being in college, I'm a little bit older than you are, but I remember being in college and I remember the civil rights sit-ins, and I remember the Vietnam War protests, and I remember all that Forrest Gump stuff. Remember that?
I do.
We did a lot of silly things, too. We've just gotten 40 years wiser.
True, but I wonder, would a millennial go out and stand up to rifle fire? I don't believe they would.
We have a whole military.
I don't know about that. I'm talking about
our military is 20 years old today.
Oh, no, I don't mean on this holding the guns. I'm talking about the kids who were willing to stand up to the National Guard at Kent State. Were willing to stand up to authority at risk to themselves. It's hard to see these cats, defending the Facebook or the iPhone. I mean, you probably remember. I don't know what you thought of it, but it was kind of creepy what happened in Zuccotti Park. I didn't feel that was like Woodstock. I didn't feel that was revelatory and big and positive. So I worry about in the American formula if we don't need to be reaching high as well as making ourselves feel good. You know what I mean?
I live in San Antonio, Texas, and we are Military City, USA, and I see the recruits, all the recruits for the Air Force in the United States come through San Antonio. They spend 6 or 9 weeks here for basic training, and I see these fresh young faces who are willing to sign up and volunteer in a war. We are in a war time. We have wars all over the world right now. We've got people who are cycling through 3 and 4 tours of Afghanistan and the Middle East. So I do see a lot of dedicated, hardworking, patriotic Americans who are looking to protect America and to do some great things with their lives. So I see maybe a little bit of a different side of that than you do.
Well, do you think we're in the right direction? Does it look like the net results of the last 30 years have done us well? Do we have a lot on the scoreboard?
We are in a politically correct society that is hurting our country terribly. We are afraid to talk. We're afraid to stand up for our values because we'll be ridiculed or sued or attacked.
Right.
I think that there is a whole paradigm shift in what it means to be an American today. I see the freedom of speech being impinged, where universities won't even back public speakers coming in, that they'll let the dissenting, rioting crowds prevent free speech from happening on campus, whereas in our generation, we fought for free speech.
Sure.
I
want to wrap up.
The whole political correctness thing is scary.
I love talking with you about this. I'm watching the clock. I'm going to toss in one more question because I think it does sound very millennial, and I'm wondering if you encounter this. When we were out looking for jobs, absolutely, we didn't mind zipping our lip about any subject that would queer the deal. Don't go into Exxon and talk about oil spills. Just pay attention to what's going on. Today, I do hear a lot of, well, this is what matters to me. And if the job is not in with it, that's tough for the job. Is it difficult to get them to stay silent on, say, Trump hating when you're out on a job interview, or bringing up gay marriage, bringing up transgender policies, controversies like that? Is it easy to get a millennial to just don't bring it up? Or is it hard for them to not say something on it?
Well, I coach college students in how to interview, and I coach them not to talk about anything that is controversial. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about things that are controversial, because it's 50% chance of that whoever you're meeting with feels the other way. So I coach them that. I do think that they are more outspoken, perhaps. I do think millennials are more concerned about quality of work and choosing companies that reflect good citizenship. That's a lot more important to them than it was for us. We wanted that job. My first job out of graduate school, I went to work for R.J. Reynolds Tobacco. I worked on Winston and Vantage cigarettes. I don't smoke, but I went to work for a tobacco company. And that didn't bother me. Today, a lot of kids wouldn't do that because they're against smoking.
Absolutely.
So
wow.
I think there may be some lines that they draw, and a lot of it is personal, like work-life balance that they talk about, and wanting to work for a company that they think is doing good for the world or the economy. That's a top of their priority. I don't always agree with what that company is and if that direction is the right direction, but at least they're dedicated towards trying to be a little bit more selfless about caring about other parties than themselves in some areas. In many ways, they're very egocentric.
Diane, did you minor?
The new generation.
Did you minor in diplomacy?
I did not.
I
did not.
You should have. You should have, because you are amazing. Thank you so much. The half an hour has gone by so quickly. Let me get some good plugs in here and have people reach out to you. First of all, you can go to Diane's website, www.brandyouguide.com. Diane is the author of Brand You, to land your dream job, a step-by-step guide to find a great job, get hired, and jumpstart your career, available at Amazon. A total pleasure. Thank you for all this time on a Friday afternoon. So enjoyed having you with us today.
Ed, do you have time for me to give a gift to all of your listeners?
Always.
I have a free 15-page career guide and checklist to see where you are, and it's available for free at HireMeNowPlease.com. Again, HireMeNowPlease.com, and get a free gift that'll help you figure out just where you are on your job search and give you some suggestions that might help you rethink your career.
That is so awesome. Let me say that again. This is a free 15-page career guide and detailed checklist. All you have to do is go to www.hiremenow.please.com. You love that website? www.hiremenowplease.com. Diane Huth, great guest. Have a terrific weekend, Diane.
Thank you, Ed. Call me anytime.
I shall. Oh, I cannot wait till the next time we talk. Diane Huth on the Ed Tyll Show. Starcom, Radio Network, AM/FM stations all across America.